Hey guys, today we're doing the animal cell. So I'm going to do my best to follow along in the notes. Again, if you want to draw along with me, that's great. This is when we were going to use colored pencils so that you could create your own cell in class. But we're going to do this the easier way. So first off, give you the title, animal cell. And the wonderful thing about an animal cell, the main difference between an animal cell and a plant cell, is that it is round. Okay, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Sorry, I'm not doing this on the blackboard where I can impress you with my circle drawing, but that's basically an animal cell. And so we're going to go through the parts, and you can follow along with the notes I gave you, and I have numbers with them. So this right here, I'm going to point to it, is number 1, and that's your cell membrane. The cell membrane acts like a gate. It actually controls what goes in and comes out of the cell, but it is selectively permeable. It allows some in and some not to come in, some to go out, some not to go out. Sort of like if I decided to take half the class for pizza and I left the other class behind, that's not fair, but I was being selective. So that's what the cell membrane does. Okay, acts like a gate and allows things to move in and out. Now, the next one, I'm actually going to use yellow, and you're going to probably say, why am I using yellow? You're not going to be able to see it, but I am going to draw other stuff inside the cell. So I'm going to just go, wee, just like this, okay? I'm going to put a number 2, okay? And number 2, and don't worry if you can't see it, just know that it's inside, is called cytoplasm. And cytoplasm is a jelly-like material that holds all the cell organelles. Remember, another name for parts is going to be organelles, in place. Sort of like if you had Jell-O and whoever made the Jell-O threw in the old decaying fruit inside. Once the Jell-O molds, you can shake the Jell-O, and the Jell-O might go flub, 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 but the fruit stays in place. And that's what the cytoplasm is actually doing. It's going to hold all the organelles in place. A long time ago, though, cytoplasm was called protoplasm. The prefix proto means first. And the simple definition, and I kid you not, sort of like with Democritus and the tiny bits of stuff, they used to call protoplasm the stuff of life. We don't really use that term anymore. We stay with cytoplasm. Okay, so those are your first two. And it takes up most of the animal cell's mass. Remember, mass is size. So of all the parts, cytoplasm is pretty darn big. All right, now we're going to go into the third part, but you're going to notice in the notes that there are 4 parts to this third part. So I'm changing my colors here, and we're going to talk about the good old nucleus, okay? Now, the nucleus is the control center or the brain of the cell. Okay, it's going to tell the cell what to do, and it's going to be best friends with the mitochondria because you need the energy to do any activity. So they got to stay in complete communication. But there are 4 parts to the nucleus, and this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting because it's sometimes hard to see it. This outer part right here, okay? I know you're going to say it's not the nucleus. It is the nucleus, but the outer part is what we call the nuclear membrane. So I have this labeled 3A. And the nuclear membrane does exactly what the cell membrane does. It allows things to go in and out of the nucleus. Location, location, location. Let the words work for you, okay? So nuclear membrane surrounds the nucleus, acts like a gate. It is also selectively permeable, okay? So enough on that one. And then, just like you had cytoplasm, you have something called nucleoplasm. And you can see I'm just swirling it in there. And I'm going to just label it 3B. And nucleoplasm does the same thing as the cytoplasm, but they're giving you location, location, location. So the nucleoplasm is jelly-like, and it will hold the organelles that are inside the nucleus in place. All right. Next, we have something called the nucleolus. Turn this on. And it looks like a dot, okay? And what the nucleolus does, and I'll label it 3C, okay, is it makes proteins inside the nucleus. Now, this is definitely a new structure for you. You didn't do this last year. But you see, the nucleus needs proteins, which are needed for growth and repair of the cell. And you're going to need proteins here. And it works closely with an organelle you did last year called ribosomes. We'll get to that eventually. But this object here, nucleolus, it actually sounds like it's nucleus. Nucleolus is going to make those proteins just for the nucleus, but they have to be balanced. And then we're going to go into 3D. Now, these are chromosomes. The prefix chromo actually means colored, okay? Each organism has its own set of chromosomes. That's your genetic makeup, how you look like mom or act like dad. That all has to do with your chromosomes. They're rod-like structures. I'll do a couple of pairs. We have 46 chromosomes in every single body cell. If you think I'm going to draw 46 chromosomes, you're out of your mind. So I'm going to give you a sample. This is going to be number 3D. And those are our chromosomes. But again, we have 46 in every single body cell. But our sex cells, which are sperm and egg, they're only going to have 23. And the reason for that is when sperm and egg meet, 23 plus 23 equals 46. Congratulations, you're having a baby. And that would be a human being. All right, I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys, but this is just very new for me, so I'm sure it's new for you. All right, one of your favorites that I know you love, okay, is the mighty mitochondria. And the mitochondria, there can be many in the cell. I'm only going to really just draw one. Kind of looks like a clamshell, okay? Now, the mitochondria, that's the plural. Mitochondrion would be for a singular one. This would be number 4. Okay, that's your powerhouse. Now, in your notes from 2 days ago, you saw the abbreviation ATP, which is a fancy name for energy. It stands for adenosine triphosphate. No, you don't have to worry about that. But because it has the energy, this is where the site of cellular respiration is going to take place. And it works very closely with the whole entire nucleus, okay? So that is your mitochondria, okay? Works very closely. Powerhouse. You like to be the boss, well, that is the nucleus. But if you want the boss to be happy to get everything to work, that's the mitochondria. And then we have, one of my favorites is endoplasmic reticulum. Not sure if you guys did that last year, but with endoplasmic reticulum, it can be abbreviated ER. It's an acceptable abbreviation. And they're tubes that go through the cell. And sometimes you can have it, they look like pancakes. Just draw it up. There are a series of tubes that can go from either the nucleus to the cell membrane, or they can actually go across the cytoplasm. It's like a transfer station, okay? So this is going to be number 5. This is also number 5, so I'll put that there. Goes with the notes. And, you know, it's like an escape hatch. If you've ever been to Splish Splash, there's a ride that reminds me of this called the Abyss, okay, where it's dark, it's enclosed. Well, if you needed to get something in or out of the nucleus in a hurry, you don't want to have to trudge through cytoplasm. You want to go right out. And that's why the ER is so important, okay? Look, we've talked about this before. If you're going to run in water, knee-deep water, or on land, of course you're going to go faster in the land. This is going to slow you up. Cytoplasm is jelly-like. There's no cytoplasm in the ER. Okay, so they're just tubes that either go from the nucleus to the cell membrane or can go throughout the cell. All right, now, the ER can be either smooth or it can be rough. Okay, in tech, you work with sandpaper, you have different grades. And that's because it's going to smooth out wood or metal. Well, if you have ribosomes, I'll make these big dots. Believe me, they are not this big. Okay? Ribosomes can be in two places. Okay? They could either be attached to ER's wall, okay, which would make it be rough, or they could just be floating in the cytoplasm somewhere. Okay, they just look like dots. You'll see that in the next video that you'll see, which is not mine, obviously. I'll make that be number 6 as well, because they're free. They're free to go anywhere, or they could be attached to ER's wall. So the ribosomes are going to make proteins in the cytoplasm. They're best friends with that nucleolus again. Ribosomes and nucleolus are best friends. The whole nucleus and the mitochondria are best friends. Okay? It kind of looks like acne in the cell. So here you would have for the ER, the endoplasmic reticulum, because it is attached to ER's wall, this would be called rough endoplasmic reticulum. With it not on the ER's wall, this would be considered smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay? How we doing out there? I know there's a lot, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible.